journey, and that they will eventually find their way in life, because we all do. We're all walking each other home. So we're all going to ascend eventually. There's no rush. So I want you to know that this message in particular is not coming from me. I'm just the radio. I'm delivering a message that kept showing up all week. So the guys were saying to me that when people started vaping, everything was seemingly fine and dandy. And a year later, people started getting the popcorn lung. Do you remember that? And then they drew a parallel with this jab, with the injection, with the inoculation. They said that that's precisely what's going to happen with that. Right now, people are like ostriches with their heads buried in the sand. They're not questioning the narrative. The thing isn't even FDA approved, I think. And people are like, yep, just give it to me. Just give it to me. Just give it to me. I just want to go on with my life. I don't want to live with fear anymore. They're just shoving down their own fear. They are numbing themselves by going ahead and taking this solution, even though there's no proof that it's good for you. And whenever you make a choice in life that is stemming from an unconscious state, there will always be grave repercussions. But the thing is, though, we're all wired differently and uniquely. So you may not like coffee and you don't respond well to it, and I may be fine with coffee. I may not do well with cigarettes, and you may be completely okay with cigarettes, and it doesn't affect you. You're like in another dimensional state or something. And you know that deep down. You're like, I'm never going to get cancer. It's almost like you can smoke and get away with it. So my point is, this message isn't going to be for everyone, but it will be applicable to many of you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sharing it. Some of you will feel peace around taking the V, and some of you will not. And that's okay. You have to listen to you. So if you're not resonating with this message, you can reject it. I never, ever impose my messages on anyone because they're not really mine. There's a higher intelligence that may not be linked to you, but it's linked to other people. Or it might be linked to you, but the message won't land with other people. But it is a higher intelligence, and I have a duty as a messenger for God, for Source, to share these messages. So the guides kept saying to me that there are going to be repercussions down the road, not now. Sort of like the popcorn lung. There's going to be repercussions down the road because people unconsciously decided to take the V. Because again, when you're not in your sovereign state, it's similar to someone signing a contract, signing on the dotted line, and they don't read through that contract. You're unconsciously signing that contract. And you might be an artist in the music industry, and then when you want to get out of your contract, they're like, we own you now. That's because you weren't consciously signing that contract. It's also like when you lie to someone. Lying is an unconscious behavior. It stems from a fear or shame that you have, which drives you to lying. But the thing about the light is that sun is always going to shine upon that lie eventually, and the truth will be exposed. That's because when you operate from unconsciousness, there are always ramifications. So I love you guys, and I ask you to really examine whether or not you want to do this, especially if you're having hesitation around it. I spoke to a family member the other day. They're like, I'm really concerned about this. It's already been proven that people have died and all of this. And I'm like, okay, well, you need to listen to that, because I think we've become so entranced and so programmable and so manageable that we know something isn't good for us from the get-go, but we sit with it, and then the ego convinces you it's okay, and then you end up doing it. So what I'm asking you tonight is trust that initial instinct. If you're questioning whether or not you should do it, Spirit is in there. There's a message concealed in that for you. But I think we've become like these dogs that just roll over and we're like, I'm going to sit with this. I'm concerned about it. And then your ego has a chance to sneak in and convince you it's okay. That's being asleep. Do not be a zombie. Do not be a sheep. I love you guys.